Hey, what's up, filmmakers? So today we're going to be looking at the newest update for the Dehancer iOS plugin. So for those of you who follow me, you've heard me talk about. I love Dehancer. It's a huge part of my post-production workflow. I love film emulation and have used various programs over the years. For my first film, Hard Sun, that we did back in 2012, I used Film Convert to give it really nice film emulation because we shot that film on a Canon 5D. So I still use film emulation all the time, and I've tested out a lot of them, and Dehancer is hands down the best one that I've found and what I use now on all of my projects. Over on my YouTube channel, I have a very in-depth, like hour-long video about how I used Dehancer on the film All of You Will Die, which was a horror anthology, and Dehancer was great because it enabled me to give each of the different chapters of the anthology a different look. So they also have, in addition to the desktop version, they released a app for the iPhone, and they just released a new update, which the notes in the update say that there's 86 new looks or revamps of the looks. So I just wanted to jump through today because this is a great tool to use on your iPhone for photos and video. And I just upgraded to the iPhone 17 Pro Max because I feel like at this point the phone is so good, the camera is so good, all of that there's really no reason to have an actual camera anymore. So I'm really moving into like a tech stack that just enables me to, with my phone and a little Chromebook, which I also just got, being able to do all of my posts, my content creation and things like that, because I do travel a lot. I'm going to New York City next month, and then in May I'll be in France for Cannes. And so just really trying to streamline the shit that I have to bring with me to be able to do it. So with all of that being said, we're going to jump in. The app looks pretty much like it did before. On the home screen we can search photos. I have different photos and videos that I've done tests with, and then we can also take a picture. But we'll just jump into this photo here. This is an actress that I've worked with, that was in All of You Will Die and a couple other projects that I've done. But this is actually an AI generation of her. So in addition, I've been doing a lot of development and stuff with AI and apps and automation and things like that. And so I built a LoRa training module that was trained on her face on like headshots and stuff that she had. So then I could just create new shots. So that's this. This is a fully AI generated shot of her. And so one thing that I noticed off the bat, I don't know if the old version did this, but if you press here, you can kind of drag, which is nice. So then we have presets, and these are all the presets of the different film looks. So Kodak Vision 3, that's your very standard, most things that films that shoot on film shoot on Kodak Vision 3. It's got black and white. It's got different versions of the V3. They have Fuji color. For anybody who has shot on film, either photo or camera, you'll recognize a lot of these. I used to shoot a lot of actual photography on film, and so I used a lot of these Kodak and Fuji and Agva and things like that. And so you can just go through, and this is like a good starting point to kind of figure out where you want to start. They have some black and whites, they have some colors, and if you punch here, let's see, so let's do this. For starting point, we'll say the what is it, oh, here's more. Okay. So the Vision 3, I'm looking specifically for Ektachrome. There's Kodachrome, and you can just punch and it'll, load that pre-look. Ektar is really nice. And then, you can just go through and look at these. It gives you little thumbnail versions, but for this, let's kick in Ektachrome, because I love Ektachrome. I used to shoot it and cross-process it. The show Euphoria, they in season 2 started shooting Ektachrome, and Kodak actually started remaking that film stock specifically for that show, and it's just got a great look. So this is all the settings that it has here, and we'll just go through them quickly one by one. So first up, you can crop. And this is kind of nice because it has all of these presets. So, if you want specifically 9:16 for social media, you can do that. If you want to, 2:35, doing a little, a little cinematic kind of thing going on, you can do that. But we'll just keep it at the original. You can also rotate it here. Source, that is the source coloring of the photo. So we just have little sliders, and usually I just, kind of adjust this for look. So, this is the exposure. So we'll just set the exposure, temperature compensation, is it cooler or warmer? Just keep that in the middle. Tint compensation as well. Just keep that. And then defringe we can enable. I never know what this does, but I just adjust and do everything by eye. Then we have film looks. These are, again, those presets that we saw on the first one, but we already selected our Ektachrome. And then we have this this push-pull control here. So I just usually dial this in for look. And then we'll hop over to developer. This is, the nice thing about Dehancer is it's built on actual linear film developing science. So you have, your photo, your developer, your film stock, your negative stock, and all of that. And so you can do some really cool combinations that become very accurate, as if you had shot it. Now, contrast boost, this is up to you. Lots of times with film, it's a bit softer contrast, or, you can go really crazy and give it some real style, but I'll kick right in there. Your gamma, just kind of adjust the overall gamma. And again, I just do these kind of all for look. That's the nice thing, is you can just move the slider around and see what you like. So next off, we'll go to compression. This is the impact slider, our white point, so we can set how bright we want the white. If we want, nice highlights, we don't want any tonal range in here. Again, I'm just doing this kind of all for look as I go. Expand, this is where we can set our black point, if basically our levels of black. So let's go in there. Same thing with the white point, if we want it super blown out, or we'll go in right there. Now color mode, this is normal, and then Luma, I usually do Luma. I think it just kind of sticks it more in the parameters of actual film stock, and then I might adjust it just a little bit more after I do that. And then we go into the print. So this is where we can select our print stock, right? Because film, you shoot on a negative, and then you develop it and you put it onto a print stock, and that's what you look at in photos, or that you show through a projector. So We have linear, we have Kodak glossy paper, we have Fujifilm, which I find Fujifilm usually does like a little bit less saturation of colors than thing, and then the king of motion picture, which is Kodak 2383. So that's kind of what I always work with. Sometimes I use Kodak glossy. I think for our purposes today, we'll do Kodak 2383, and then you can adjust the contrast again, right, on the print side. So maybe we want it, a bit crunchier. Tonal contrast. This again is kind of adjusting the overall tone of the film. If we want it more lower or higher contrast, we'll kind of go in there. And then our saturation, if we want it fully black and white or fully colorized or somewhere in the middle. Color density, again, you can see the big change on her lips. If we want less density in color or more, maybe we'll come right in the middle. And then target white balance, we can adjust, cooler, warmer, and I do this just to scale. And then analog range limiter, this is, we're working in a digital color space, but if you wanted to stay true to film, which is analog, we would just pop this on and it would kind of take those ranges that wouldn't exist in analog and cuts them off. Then we have our color head, which in film development, you have these different colors and you can adjust, so we can do that. So I always just kind of play with this. I kind of like that yellowish, and then maybe in there. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah. We can gang these lower ones together, but I usually like to adjust them individually. So that's nice. There we go. And then our highlight in there. And then we can preserve the exposure, because changing the colors is changing the exposure. So if we bring it all the way up, we can see it was a little bit brighter, and then changing the colors brought it down. So I'll just adjust that. And then impact, so that's without any of the color adjustment we had. This is with all of it. And then again, I'll kind of always find like a nice in between. And then we have our film look settings, right? So our film grain, they have presets. So if we wanted to go super crunchy, maybe we do like 16 mil ISO 500, and we can adjust the amount, make it super crunchy or less, kind of fine tune this. You can see it on and off. Usually I'll go super low with the film look. Halation, the rim jets I find are really nice because they kind of go a bit extra. So we'll just do this no rim jet, and you can see it kind of giving that little bit of softness and film look. There's it off, and then on, it gives that in the bloom. You can kind of see it adding that little hazy look, which is great for CGI and especially AI as well, to give it more of a realistic look. So that's without it with. And then vignetting is always great. You can do bright vignetting or dark. You can adjust the size here, feather it if we want it harder or softer. Aspect ratio. There for this, we'll kind of do it in the middle. And then film damage, if we wanted it, we could do 35 mil and do it a bunch of film damage looks. I think this is new how this is done with the refresh Yeah, they've definitely changed this. You can adjust the dust amounts, the dust scale, the size balance. You can see it there in the lower hand side in the shadows. This works really good for video as well. And then overscan if you wanted to do that. I never use this, but so there's the look, and if you hold your finger on it, it'll show you the before. So that's before what we started with, and then boom, there's the look at the end. And looking at this is a bit aggressive, but for our purposes, I think it works good for what we're showing. I may go back and tweak a few things afterwards, maybe the push-pull, to find something that I really like in there. So then after you're done with all of that, you just press this button. You can save it to the gallery, or you can share it. But there you go. That is that. I'll just save this to my gallery. It exports. Boom, done. And there, now it's saved. And then one thing I'll just show you really quick is this also does video, right? So this, I believe, yeah, so this is the original of this video, this AI video that I did.
Stay indoors during the storm.
Got it.
The spinner lanes are restricted to authorized personnel.
City, and then this is the look that I added into it, and it's a bit aggressive. There's it's very easy to go aggressive on this, but
stay indoors during the storm.
Pretty cool.
The spinner lanes are restricted to authorized personnel.
And then same thing, you can just adjust, you export it, and you can do it at 24 FPS, which is what that was recorded at, all the way down to 8. And then you can select your megabits as well, and then you just confirm it, and it'll kick it out. It takes a few minutes or a few seconds more than the photos, obviously, but that's it. And then it's on your phone, ready to share or post or whatever. One more thing is this, it's got a scope up here, which is great. So you can see that you have your different scopes to just kind of check things out.
The spinner lanes are restricted to authorized personnel.
But when you
indoors,
when you play it and stop it, it does adjust on the freeze frame. So this is great as well if you're trying to match stuff. And if we went back to our photo here and did it, this is nice to just kind of see where we're at. And let's see if it adjusts. Yeah, so it adjusts in real time there, and I think that's showing us color safe. So that stuff is too dark. So it gives us color safe when you have that on. So when it's off, can't tell. When it's on, that blue is saying, hey, that's underexposed. So we just bring it up, and then you're golden. And that info just gives a little menu here. So again, this is Dehancer version 5.5, build 798. This is their newest one that they've released. And I think if you're taking photos or shooting videos on your phone for social media, or even for actual projects, films and short films and things like that, and anything you're doing with AI, this app is like a must-have for things. And they have like a couple different versions of the subscription. I think it's a monthly subscription. I'm not sure if they do a yearly subscription or not, but definitely check it out, and check out my video over on my YouTube channel, Canyon Prints. And you'll see, I think it's releasing this coming week or next week, the full breakdown of the Dehancer desktop app. And in that, I'll have a discount code as well for Dehancer. I think it's not a king too, and it's 10% discount. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to pick up Dehancer for your computer for all of your post workflow, and then also this newer Dehancer phone app for iOS. So if you have an iPhone, and then I'm not sure if they do it for Android. They might. So if you're an Android user, search in the store and see if Dehancer is available there. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and have fun giving your photos and videos and AI stuff that analog film look from the best in the biz, in my opinion, Dehancer film emulation. Thanks.